You are watching The Real Deal with Keith Trent here at the Think Tank Room over at TNE headquarters. So for this month's reviews, I want to start by talking about my movie of the month choice in theaters, which was Lowriders. Now, Lowriders is a movie that deals with the culture of lowrider cars in Los Angeles. It deals with a family base that is really, really important. It's like at the heart of the film. It's a father versus son story, coming of age son story as well. We have the younger brother who has been with his dad the whole time, who has watched his mother pass away, and who, even though he does love cars and he loves his father, he is more drawn toward his art. And so he's trying to branch out and do his own thing. And now the brother who was in jail is now coming back as the prodigal son of sorts, but at odds with his father instead of being embraced with open arms. The brother, played by Theo Rossi, is the strongest role in the movie, and he just brings such a dynamic performance to every single scene that he's in. Every scene is tense, and like he's the villain of the film, but he's not really a bad guy. And I think that's what makes his character so unique, is that he is flawed and he is the antagonist of the story, but he's not an evil person. You can understand like what are the things that would cause him to do the things that he does, and the love for his brother, and sort of the love for his father that fuels the hatred. It's a very complex story, and all the characters are so well written and so well drawn out that it just really brings a gravitas to the story that you might not have thought you would get in just watching the trailer alone. So that's why I call it the quiet underdog hit, because it's one of those films where you're like, this could be a really great movie or it could be a kind of movie, and it was a very, very pleasant surprise. So definitely, if you love cars, if you love that culture, and if you really want a great family story that grounds all that, kind of like the original Fast and the Furious movie, but with deeper characters at the start, this is the movie for you. Now, going into my top choices for new on Netflix, I'd like to start with Rodney King, because Rodney King is one of those movies that just stops you in your tracks. It's a very poignant story about a very well-known African-American person who was abused by the police. One of the first really highly documented stories of my generation, early 90s, and spawned riots, other deaths, and this one-man show, this one experience is taken on by Smith, and he is outstanding. He brings such a gravitas and a Shakespearean presence to the stage. We never really see the audience. We get the feel as if we're kind of in a big stage that's maybe surrounded in a park. It's clearly circular because you can see how the camera moves around him in very dynamic and intense ways. It zooms in, it zooms out. From the sound effects to the different character voices, Smith does it all. And with such power and charisma, he handles dialect changes, character changes at the drop of a dime. Just smooth transitions from one to the other. The music is haunting yet complimenting at the same time. He even does sound effects and the echoes, like you feel the blows when the police officers are hitting him, and when he's counting it off, he rattles off line after line at light speed, changing cadences, just at ease. You can literally see the sweat building up all over him from all the heat and how much he's been talking. He never takes a sip of water. He never wipes a bead of sweat. He is completely engulfed in this experience that he's bringing to you, visceral from start to finish. And it is an absolute must-see, especially for people who are unfamiliar with the story. And it having the impact that we have right now with all the police beatings going on, it's very relevant to the time. I think it's a very powerful piece that brings the newer generation dealing with this now, and that generation that grew up with me experiencing it at a young age. So that's a definite at the top of the list on Netflix right now. Now for Veer Das's comedy special, it is called Broad Understanding, and that's exactly what it is. You get a great insight into Indian culture and how he has assimilated but not assimilated. He's come over to America, but he hasn't lost touch with his Indian roots. He really takes you on a journey to bring New York and where he's from in India together in a likewise understanding. And he actually shoots the special in both places, a little comedy club in New York and an actual stadium where he's from in India. The only other comedian I've ever heard of packing out a stadium is Kevin Hart. And that's just in America. So that's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. And I feel like even though it's not one of those things where you're not gonna be like buckled over in laughter, you will always have a smile on your face, you will always be laughing, and you will come out at the end of the special feeling more enlightened and feeling a sense of understanding, like you said, in a broad way, and to seeing India in a way that you've never seen it before, from the food, to the culture, to the language, to religion. It's a very, very insightful piece. I liked it a lot. And then lastly, we have Master of None, Season 2. I know everybody has been waiting for this. We waited over an entire year. 2 years, actually. 1 year longer than any other show. They took a whole entire year break off before they even started filming. Now, you might have been keeping up on the blogs and the internet sites to find out why it's taking so long, and I will tell you. Aziz Ansari basically said that he wanted to make sure that him and his writers just experience a little bit more of life. They want to spend more time in New York and go through more experiences so they could give a more visceral and believable experience of a New Yorker, of a single person trying to find love, breaking up, dealing with the new trends of the dating world and dating apps, and trying out other cultures, going somewhere else to get away from heartbreak, going somewhere that you always really want to go and exploring that, and living somewhere else and then coming back home, and what that journey is like. All the characters that we've had that are recurring characters were fantastic. The relationship between Arnold and Dev is hilarious as ever before. You have a wonderful big and tall situation going on, white and Indian, and they just play off each other so well. I could literally just watch them for hours and hours on end. They're absolutely hilarious, and they have this fantastic friendship that feels so real. And while they're both going through their own things, Arnold, of course, always being the player, but in the beginning he has like a bit of a moment where he's brought back into this, man, like, did I really miss something? Like, should I be in love? And then Dev going through his whole breakup and living in Italy for 3 months. I love the first episode where it's in black and white, and so the first time we see Italy, it's in black and white, and he has this experience where he meets this girl, and it's like magical and serendipitous, and it's like, oh, how could this possibly happen? And then boom, bad luck right behind it. I won't tell you any spoilers, but this is just the type of realism that Master of None brings. It drew a beautiful picture of Italy. They showed us a lot of great places. I love the way they deal with the food, because I feel like Dev experiences everything through food. The man loves to eat, and he loves his food, and he loves to travel and try different things. And that's also what makes it great for him as a native New Yorker, because that's how we are as New Yorkers. We love, the variety, we love the diversity, and we embrace that. That's what makes New York, New York. And the writers and the director did a fantastic job of painting a beautiful picture of New York, from the big park museum to the really slick, covered in snow, narrow pathway that they're walking, him and Arnold, or where he goes to walk by himself to gather his thoughts. Just how beautiful it looks in the springtime, and the rooftop bar to the speakeasy club. They just paint a beautiful picture of the diversity of New York, and it goes in tie with the diversity of the cast. There are some great episodes that are complete side stories. We get to get a background of how Dev and Denise grew up together. He basically spent all his Thanksgivings with them, and we watched them grow up together, and how she deals with becoming a lesbian and coming out to her family as an African-American woman, because we know it's already hard enough for black people in this society, like Angela Bassett, who plays her mom fantastically, says, and then you're gonna add that on top of it, And there's also the religious aspect to that too. So it's a lot to deal with, and they handled it in a very, very powerful way, I feel. It's a great progression, it's a great insight into that story, into that friendship. and that's really good. There was also an episode that I really like called Religion, where one of my very own friends, Rizika Hall, was in as well, playing Dev's uncle, who comes in as like the religious person where you have to fake the funk to, you know, appease your mom so she doesn't look bad in front of the in-laws. And then Dev ends up getting into it with his cousin, where he puts him onto pork, and then they go on this crazy adventure together. There is another great episode where Dev doesn't even show up until the end of the episode, but we follow this deaf woman who then meets up with her boyfriend in the store, and they have one of the most hilarious conversations between two deaf people, as a couple even, which makes it even funnier, that I've ever seen on film in my entire life. There's just so many great rich moments like that where they take the time to give you a context of his world, and it just makes it seem like that real New York, where at one moment it's so big and it's so vast and so beautiful, and you meet these people that you may never see again, and then it has these small serendipitous moments at the same time where someone you never thought you'd see again, you run back into them at the most random of times. If you loved season 1 of Master of None, you are definitely going to love season 2. So guys, that is all I have for you this month. I'm looking forward to seeing if there are any movies that you guys want me to see. Definitely let me know in the comments below, and I'll be back with you guys next month on The Real Deal with Keith Trent.
Hey TNE fans, we hope you enjoyed this video today. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our amazing interviews, how-to videos, or knowing what's going on in the TNE community. So subscribe now. We look forward to getting your input on this video and the many videos to come.